Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game. Big Ten champions. Big Ten champs.
National champions, yes.
Oklahoma City bound the Oregon Ducks.
Awesome day to be a Duck, man.
Boom inside. Touchdown Oregon. He gets loose. Fires. Hit. Pops the three. Oh, yeah. It's all Oregon.
This is Duck Insider.
It's about how to be a group of people that know how to love each other to the absolute fullest.
Pleasure, joy to be with them each and every day. And I can't wait for the future.
It's just fun to be a part of a community that cares, that is passionate, and when we come together, powerful things can happen.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Now let's go live to the Country Financial Studio to talk Oregon Duck athletics.
Here we go. The Ducks are one of the final four in the college football playoff. No better time to have Athletic Director Tuesday with Oregon Athletic Director Rob Mullens. How does it feel to hear that around the national narrative right now?
Yeah, it's great. Obviously, a lot of work goes into this, and it's fun to see the coaches and student athletes and the whole Oregon nation still be playing here on, I guess January 9th.
That's right.
Pretty darn cool, and a lot of coverage, and a chance to give Jerry a new call.
That's right.
The intro.
That's right.
Another opportunity.
Well, and for you, we've made sure the athletic director's in the intro too. Who knows what could come in the next few appearances?
Who knows? Let's go.
Right? That's what this is all about. And there's so much talk, Rob, about the college football calendar and everything else. And at the end of the day, though, the system's the system, and you're playing the system, and the Ducks have been winning in this system.
We have been. We were early adopters, but it is complicated. Because just think about what you have right now. You got, coaches changing. You've got players coming and going both sides. Some from your current roster entering the portal. While you're in the midst of just an amazing experience, but it's just the way the calendar sets. At the same time, you're trying to recruit those key portal players for the 2026 season. And, we've seen the important roles that portal players contribute to, our last several teams.
Well, and just look at this game. The two starting quarterbacks are products of the portal for
right.
each team. That's just one example.
Yeah, and I think as you looked across the playoff in general, I mean, a majority of, if not all of them, were portal quarterbacks.
That's right. And that's the position everyone focuses on.
Sure.
Certainly a very valuable position in the game of football. But the entire roster, though, I think I give so much credit to Coach Lanning and his entire staff for the way that they've built this roster. I think it's interesting, Rob. So Noah Whittington was just talking about this because he's one of the few that played in that first game that Coach Lanning coached in this building.
Okay.
Right? And so certainly, it's an easy narrative point for someone like me to say, well, look at where the team was then and how that roster was constructed, and then look at the growth that the program, a change of conference during that time period.
Yeah.
It really is amazing to think about how much has happened just in Coach Lanning's tenure as head coach.
No, and then the rules, the house settlement, the NIL, the cap, there's all these new acronyms, CSC, right. NIL Go. We have a whole new lingo.
Yeah, you do.
So a lot has happened. I just, I think what Dan has done, and this is what he articulated in the interview, was something that was, forward thinking about portal, NIL, a way to embrace it, adapt, and be winners in it. And I think that, I think Dan and staff have struck the perfect balance of recruiting, player development, and then supplementing that with key portal additions. Again, look at the Orange Bowl and Dylan Thieneman and Darren John. There's just a lot.
There's a lot, and then the wins demonstrate that it's working.
It is.
Right?
And I think, yes, and I think, the secret sauce is, and I'm sure you guys talk about it frequently, is, Dan is very intentional and very strategic about connection and leadership, and that pays huge dividends this time of year.
Well, and I've said this before, that we all listen in my role to so many interviews, right, and talk to so many student athletes and coaches, not just in interviews ourselves, but also how to conduct interviews, right? And let me just tell everyone that it is not an accident that someone like Noah Whittington just today says, hey, the theme of the team since I've been here has been about growth. You just mentioned connection, and then Coach Lanning also talks about sacrifice all the time. Like, it's not an accident that you hear these words and these themes come up all the time, and that's consistent messaging from the top.
It is very consistent. I think equally important, we say this all the time, it's not what you hang on the walls, it's what you do in the halls.
That's right.
And so, yes, that they kind of often break with those themes and those values, but you see them live them every day, and they're reinforced by the actions. And so there's real meaning behind it and real substance behind it. And again, I think what Dan does in a very intentional and strategic way, 365 days a year, is builds this cohesive unit through, just a variety of activities.
Rob, as a leader yourself, how much have you learned and adapted by other leaders, by working with all these other leaders?
Very much so. I mean, we're fortunate to work in an incubator of leadership,
no doubt,
right?
Yeah.
With 20 programs. I was doing an interview yesterday, and someone was saying, "What's your best coaching hire?" And I said, "There's no chance I'm answering that with a name." But, then you just start thinking about, in your head going through all the great leaders that we have in this department. And it's sure fun for us to see them lean on each other, whether that's Dan calling Dana to say, "Hey, how do you manage handle March Madness?" Or, Missy connecting with Dan to say, "Hey, can you help me in recruiting?" Or Derek Radley, who's just a recruiting machine, and everybody picking up a little something. But, there is strength in that.
And strength in learning from you at the top. I think that's safe to say too, right?
Yes. I think the thing about our program, anytime we do an orientation, with our newcomers, is, our message is clear. You're part of a team. You bring a set of experiences that, if you're willing to share them with us, is going to make us all better, even if it's in an area that's not your expertise. If you've seen something somewhere else and you look at something and just ask the question, we're open to continuous improvement, the growth.
Innovation, right? You talked
100%
about that at Oregon. These DNA traits that come up. Again, I'm just saying, that stuff doesn't just happen by accident. Coaches, you always hear the adage, right, that the coach's personality often bleeds into the team, and then a player-led team, they sound a lot like their coach. Well, that happens intentionally.
No, 100%. And I think if, the interesting thing about most programs, but specifically football, is it is a year-round endeavor.
No
and the off-season training starts shortly after the season ends, and then you're into spring practice, then you're into summer lift, then you're right into fall camp, and there's just a lot of opportunity in there to be very intentional about, that connection, that growth. And I think Dan does a really, really good job with that.
It's Athletic Director Tuesday. Rob Mullens with us to kick off a new year. Happy New Year, by the way.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
It was
a good one.
I never remember how long I'm supposed to say Happy New Year for. Like, if I haven't seen somebody in February, do I say Happy New Year?
I'm typically not awake at New Year's, but Flo Rida outside my window and the fireworks from the barge got me past midnight.
Yeah, the fireworks were, for those of you that were not in Miami and did not hear the story, there was quite the concert right outside the team hotel. Another thing the team overcame. Huh?
No doubt. Flo Rida was 75 yards away, and the base was such that I was on the 30th floor and my windows were rattling.
Yeah, mine too. No, Dusty and I talked about this. We heard about it. I should have mentioned Dusty Harrah coming up later. We got some Oregon football student athletes from today previewing this Peach Bowl. A lot of anticipation, Rob, but I do want to go back even before the Orange Bowl, because you have not been on since a unique home college football playoff experience. And I want to maybe connect this, if we can, to sacrifice. Like, there's a lot that goes into putting on a game like that. Review that for fans. How'd the operation go?
Yeah, when CFP expanded to 12 in the first round games were at home, everybody was excited to see what it looked like. And after the 2024 season, we got a glimpse at it, and it was really cool.
Yeah.
And so, to have a chance to host one of those 4 games this year was a unique opportunity. And, to your point, kudos to our staff for all the planning, the quick turnaround, the execution. We got incredible feedback from our TV partners, from the CFP, from our visitors. What a great experience it was. So, nothing like having an 8th home game and doing it with short notice.
Well, and, of course, the narrative, if you will, to come back to that, is that the teams that play those home games have had an advantage just looking at the wins and losses. That aside, the experience for fans at Autzen Stadium, again, I'm glad you brought up the 8th home game, because, again, there's only 7, sometimes even 6. It's very rare you get 8.
Yeah, very rare, and we appreciate those. that showed up. They were was mighty. A drone show, some fireworks. There were some special tricks that got pulled out to really signify the importance of hosting that game. And so, it was a fun atmosphere.
Now to the Orange Bowl. I was thinking about this, and I'm curious, how many of the New Year's 6 games have you been to, worked at?
Good question. So I think Phoenix, L.A., some great jambalaya at the Sugar Bowl.
Yeah, okay. So you've done the Sugar Bowl.
I've not done the Peach.
Not done the Peach.
I had done the Orange Bowl before.
Okay.
What one am I missing?
Well, you said Fiesta Rose. Of course, you've done the Rose.
Yep, I've been to the Sugar.
Have you done the Cotton
I have
Bowl?
not. Well, when we went in the national championship game, that was hosted by the Cotton Bowl. So if you count that, yes.
I bring it up because this is something I talked to Jerry and Jorgie about, because they had done a Cotton Bowl when it was of a different meaning, I suppose, in the New Year's 6. And it is so rare and unique when you really start thinking about how many people have the opportunity to, one, attend, two, work at these various games. I just think it puts in perspective the success of Oregon. A lot of those games have been when you've been here at Oregon.
And they're great experiences. I mean, it is a bit unique now, as it's not really a bowl experience anymore, because now you're trying to advance, and for coaches it's locked in on, we want to stay in our routine, the special events, the beef bowls, the jambalayas, the whatever it is that it's really about focus, about football, and coaches want this to be as much as a regular season trip as possible, because we're planning on winning and advancing to another week. So there is a bit of a hybrid right now that's difficult because the bowls put a lot of time and energy, and it means a lot to these communities. And so we got a little bit of that flavor at the Orange Bowl. We went to the Orange Bowl luncheon. They did a Rhapsody event and a President's dinner, and so there was a lot of fun stuff packed into a couple of days. But from this point on, it's going to be more like a regular season trip.
Yeah, it's kind of like business as usual, if you will, for these trips. I feel like, though, that threading the needle of, and this is an imperfect question that I can even ask you, but I feel like the threading the needle, that's worked out well for the Bulls in recent years, kind of. I don't know.
I think that's right. I mean, I think we're all trying to honor the history and tradition. And it's still meaningful, to play in an Orange Bowl. And the work, that community, they brought 40 people out here for the Wisconsin game. Right. Eric Palms, who's one of the best bowl directors in all the business, came out with Mike Moran, their chair-elect, to our playoff game. So they invest an awful lot in this. The execution is phenomenal, from the welcome dinner to the other events that I mentioned, the way their community embraces the event. Barry University, our practice site, we're great partners. There's just, it's hard to explain how much goes into this. The police escorts for 11 buses. It's not easy in and around Miami. So
11 buses for one team, by the way.
One team, right. That was just us. Yeah. And then doing all that on a New Year's Eve with Flo Rida and Marshmello concert pumping outside.
That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. But you're right. You said earlier that it was a good, happy New Year. Well, I'm glad then as the year continues, you get to check off another box in the Peach Bowl.
Yeah, this will be a first. Gary Stoken, who's run the Peach Bowl and the events there, the Peach Bowl staff ran the game that we played in against Georgia. Great venue. Obviously, the sponsors, Chick-fil-A, just love college football. The commitment in that community to college football is something special.
More on the Peach Bowl coming up. Athletic Director Tuesday, Rob Mullens with us. We'll cover some hoops as well. It's women's basketball game day. Ducks got a big one at USC tonight. We'll tell you about that coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by one of your local branches today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
We know you turn to the Duck Store for all your game day needs. And for students at the University of Oregon, it's even more. Class supplies, jobs, a seat on our board, a place to take a quick coffee break. Because we're your student-first, non-profit college store, every purchase you make directly supports the very community we serve. From working in our counters to studying in the classroom, from directing our stores to cheering in the stands, the people we serve, the students, are the very people who are the Duck Store.
You're listening to Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
My name is Ariel. I moved to the U.S. at 19. I spoke no English and I struggled finding job opportunities. Everything I have, I owe to the Adult Literacy Center and getting my high school diploma at age 22.
It was an honor helping you achieve your greatness. Now you're helping others achieve theirs. It inspires me.
When you graduate, they graduate. Find free and supportive adult education centers near you at finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Adoption of teens from foster care is a topic not enough people know about, and we're here to change that. I'm April Dinwiddie, host of the new podcast, Navigating Adoption, presented by Adopt US Kids. Each episode brings you compelling real-life adoption stories told by the families that live them with commentary from experts. Visit adoptuskids.org/podcast or subscribe to Navigating Adoption, presented by Adopt US Kids. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Administration for Children and Families and the Ad Council.
I want you to know. I said I want you to know right now. You've been good to me, baby. Better than I've been to myself.
We're back on Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mack, joined by Oregon Athletic Director Rob Mullens. It has been a happy new year. We were just talking about just the pomp and circumstance that comes with these bowls, and the Peach Bowl has that same feel, but it is a business trip, right?
It is. I mean, you're there to win a game and you know, put yourself in a position to advance to a semifinal or a national championship. And, I mean, it's a big stage. I think we saw, 16 million viewers?
Yeah, just about 16 million.
So incredible audience, beautiful game day.
Yeah.
And I was impressed with the facility. I hadn't been back to the Orange Bowl since the Hard Rock had been renovated. Phenomenal. The execution in venue was really, really good.
Well, and the things that I think about, the football nerd that I am, are it's rare that you play a game outside in college football this time
True.
of year. No,
half in the shade, half in the sun.
That's right. It was a little,
at least for the half.
A little different. I got to tell you a story, Rob, because this is something you'll appreciate as a fellow sports fanatic. So we were setting up the day before, and we actually met the gentleman who not only oversees the installation of the field, but also grew the grass for the field.
And they're changing it again,
I understand. It again. Yes,
yeah,
that's right.
They are into the grass.
So we heard all about Bermuda 17.
Oh, nice.
That was the type of grass, if you'd like to know.
Okay.
And Dusty actually lifted up a panel of the grass. The guy let him lift it up, and it was heavy, like very dense, an inch and a half thick. Is that about right? Inch and a half thick.
Just don't pull out your pitching wedge, Dustin.
That's right. Don't you can't put the pitching wedge there. That's right. But I bring that up as it was just a cool example for us to see, like, there's a lot of different ways to execute these things, but the same level of care goes into each one of these tasks. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, and when you think, and that was that way at every event, right? Yeah. The welcome dinner, you know, they had a little Miami flavor, music, they had some fireworks. Right. You know, we go to the next night to an event. Kind of a similar deal, just kind of a celebration that Bacardi put on for the Orange Bowl committee members, and then select group of the travel parties. Then we went to their Hall of Fame luncheon. We were guests, where Alfred Williams, Tommy Frazier, Jimbo Fisher, Carson Palmer go in.
Right.
So there's a lot that happens in and around this.
Well, and to that point, I'm glad that you brought up some of these other pieces because, for example, the Peach Bowl head coach press conference actually takes place at the College Football Hall of Fame, which is located in the same complex as Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Like things like that. I bring it up because there's still so much that's around these that I hope everyone, while it's a business trip, gets to go, boy, this is a cool experience.
It is, no doubt. There's, and at least at the Orange Bowl, they did a full roster media day. So everybody goes to the stadium and everybody's available. And much like postseason basketball and postseason football, the locker room is open to all the media for, I think it's 20 minutes. So, there are some elements that just are different. The games feel longer, the halftime's a little longer. All things you just have to account for.
Peach Bowl, though, it's a tremendous opportunity.
Yeah, great opportunity. Obviously, a chance at a rematch at Indiana, who's had a phenomenal season. And it was fun to go back and watch that game. It was a great game here at Autzen, and that was October 11th. That's 3 months ago. Both teams have changed, so
very different.
With a lot on the line.
A lot on the line. I'm curious, too, from a fan perspective, as I know you are first and foremost, which is what I always appreciate when we do these interviews, because I got to tell you, everybody, like we can sit here during the breaks, and Rob and I are breaking down the analytics of whatever's happening around college athletics, and that's just what it comes down to. How excited are you to just watch a good football game?
Yeah, I mean, even in Miami, you just want to get to the game because I mentioned we only went 3 days earlier, but you had all these other obligations, and you just want to get to the game. So I'm excited, and it's just, I mean, when you have something like this, just look at your emails or text messages after a win like that. There are people who are dialed in that you haven't touched base with in months or years that are dialed in and paying attention.
How about the Big Ten factor too? 2 Big Ten teams in the semifinals.
Outstanding, and hopefully the winner goes on to win our third straight national championship. I think it just speaks to the depth and quality of this league. There's no doubt, the gauntlet of the Big Ten regular season certainly helped us. You think back about the ways that we won games at Penn State in overtime, at Iowa with a 2-minute drive. Those are kind of the things that prepare you for this stage.
Yeah, I mean, the theme of post-practice interviews this week, of course, the question gets asked, hey, it's a rematch. What'd you take away from that game? And the fact is that almost to a man, every player is saying it's about preparation and it's about learning from those things. Talk about growth. Again, like that's what it's all about. I will also say that rematches, it's hard to beat a team twice. Kurt Cignetti said that heading into this game.
This is one time when I hope he's right.
I agree. A couple final thoughts for Oregon Athletic Director Rob Mullens. Men's basketball on the road, and they're coming back for a game on Thursday against Ohio State. And women's basketball, big one against USC tonight. It's basketball season.
It is basketball season, and women have a big one on the road, and the men just came off a really difficult road trip. I mean, that's about as hard as it gets in college basketball to fly across the country. Play at Maryland, at Rutgers, 2 venues that are difficult to play. Good road trip, but it would be fun to see Matthew Knight Arena alive and lifting this basketball team for as hard as they're working.
Well, a little preview, I hope a little preview of what's to come for some excitement around Oregon football. For those of you that are in Eugene, I can sometimes have some buzz, right? When it's Ohio State the night before big football game and it's on the road.
No, let's a little appetizer.
And Ohio State's a good opponent. That could be a big win for Oregon men's basketball that could turn things. And how about what women's basketball has done too, Rob? I mean, I was just saying before we got on the air, like I think this is a big game to get one on the road for Oregon women's basketball, but the depth of the Big Ten's pretty darn good.
Yeah, on both sides. And then the women's side, we were so close to getting one against a top 10 team. And at the end of the year, when they're looking at those resumes, if you can get a road win against a ranked opponent, that goes a long way.
Long way. All right, we're going to have a business trip tomorrow. What's on the watch list for the athletic director?
I've got some work going on, so I think for most of the trip I've got some work stuff I got to take care of. I don't know. You got any recommendations?
I don't. That's why I asked you.
Yeah, no, I don't.
I'm getting into the heart of my travel season with basketball. Like if you got anything, just let me know.
Yeah, I will take a dive tonight because I'll have a little something on there, but I got to figure out what that is.
But of course, work to be done. It's a business trip.
It is a business trip, 100%. And let's hope we have one more business trip.
Anything else fans should know?
No, just appreciate all the support and those that showed up in Miami. I know it was an expensive trip, and we were outnumbered, but the ones that were there were mighty.
Overcame it.
And it was great to see our team, not let the opponent's crowd impact the game.
Well, nothing gets a crowd into it like a great performance from your team and takes a crowd out of it like a great performance by the other team.
Yep.
Might be a formula for success here in Atlanta. We're going to get the miles in. That's fine. No team has been better than Oregon in the Dan Lanning era at winning on the road.
And that's hard to do.
It's hard to do. It's a testament, though, to all the things that we talk about to come full circle, Rob. I mean, this is where you want to be, isn't it?
This is right where we want to be.
He's Oregon
Take
Athletic
advantage
Director.
of it.
Rob Mullens, thank you, sir.
Thanks. Go
Appreciate
Ducks.
your time. Oh, we got to get one. Yeah. Appreciate your time. All right, we're going to get time out. Come back. Dusty Harrah's with us. I don't know what he's going to talk about. Probably football on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear Winter, Toyota's got 25 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive, and that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action, and we'll bring the traction. Toyota, let's go places. Based on manufacturer's websites as of 10/20/25.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by one of your local branches today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Dear Winter, Toyota's got 25 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive, and that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action, and we'll bring the traction. Toyota, let's go places. Based on manufacturer's websites as of 10/20/25.
This is Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
My mom has taken up going to the park to practice yoga.
My dad's going to a club, but not a book club, a salsa club.
Finding new hobbies comes with age.
My mom has started getting lost and not knowing where she's going.
Becoming lost or disoriented doesn't. Confusion with time or place may be a sign of Alzheimer's. An early diagnosis can help improve the quality of life for your loved one. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Man, I love my kids so much. I once sat for 3 hours in the cold rain to watch her soccer team lose by 18 goals.
I love my kids so much, I once used a tube to suck snot out of her stuffed nose at 3 a.m.
You win.
Love your kids? Love them enough to make sure they're in the right car seat. From toddlers to tweens, visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat to find the right seat for their age and size. Keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
I want you to know. I said I want you to know right now. You've been good to me, baby. Better than I've been to myself. Hey.
Athletic Director Tuesday continues. Dusty Harrah.
Not an athletic director, but I'm here. Big shoes to fill.
I was really hoping you would just run with that.
Yeah,
and be like,
just like,
I got it.
Look, if they'll let me.
Dusty Harrah becomes an athletic director at a high school. Let's start there.
Okay.
What's the first thing you do?
No idea.
That's a good answer, honestly. That's Bravo. Yeah, the honesty, the integrity of this guy. He'd be a good AD.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I wouldn't even know where to start. I would not even know where to start.
I think my first phone call would be to Rob.
Yeah.
And I'd say, hey, what do you think?
What is it I'm doing?
Yeah.
And where do I start?
Boy.
Evaluate the football coach. That's where you go.
Yeah, well, that's probably accurate.
That's where I go.
You know, I mean, hey, look.
Hire the broadcast team.
Hire yourself. Make it easy.
There we go.
You know,
there we go.
Easy. Dusty Harrah, he's been roaming the sidelines. I wanted to come back to the Orange Bowl, and I asked Rob about this, right? Like, it's so rare for people like us, even in working in athletics, to work at all of these big-time games. It's something that really struck me with the path being orange and peach, and in 1 year, suddenly it's bowl games that never used to be in the stratosphere of Oregon. Right.
Yeah. I mean, when you think of the other playoff runs, they've gone through the Rose Bowl too.
Right.
And that's kind of just the way that it fell, and it was really convenient for Oregon and for Oregon fans. And this is a lot different. It's a brand new world that everybody's kind of navigating through. And it is the Orange Bowl did, and I thought Rob hit the nail on the head when he was like, they did a phenomenal job of putting on that game, whether it was in-game operations, everything that surrounded it. It's different because everybody has had to pivot from a week-long celebration of, hey, this is the end of the season for the teams that are playing here, to, no, this is just a next step forward and eventually where you want to be.
Yeah, it's amazing to look back and think about what those weeks were, because they did just simply mean something different. It's not better, worse. This is the way that the college football landscape has shifted. Do I agree with Coach Lanning that it should move up and be done earlier? Yes, I do. I don't know if you agree.
I do.
Dusty. Yeah. Let me back up and even say, like, to put on my other hat in my academic life, if you will. Like, I realize that's an impact still. They are still student athletes, right? And so all that being said, this is the game, and you play the game in the system that it is. And I'm curious your perspective. I said this to Rob, that there's no doubt Coach Lanning and the Coach Lanning era, the Ducks have succeeded in this version of college football. They really have.
Yeah, and it's really hard to do. And you're seeing some of the blue blood programs across the country that have traditionally been at the top or near the top of college football.
they're struggling to navigate these new waters, and it's a difficult thing to do. And it's almost like what you guys said of growth. Innovation, though, has always been the hallmark of Oregon athletics, and you have to have that mindset in this era of college football, especially in college athletics, especially, but in football, with the way that everything has changed so much and the fact the calendar falls the way that it does, you have to be able to be adaptive and think differently and be creative in the way that you do it. And, when you look at the 4 teams that are remaining in the college football playoff, all 4 of them have utilized everything that is new in the world of college football to their advantage, but all 4 of them have done it in a different way. And I think that has been the really cool part about seeing the 4 teams that are left standing.
And bringing up like the point that I said to Rob too with the Big Ten, and there's been a lot of national conversation about, the SEC isn't that. The Big Ten's pretty good at football too.
They are.
I think it's safe to say the Pac-12 was better at football than the nation thought that it was. Just look around at what some of the Pac-12 teams have done in other conferences. You're a football junkie, like commonly referred to that way on our broadcast. What's been your perspective now in the modern era of college football? Do we care about conferences too much? Because sometimes I think we might.
I think the way that we have thought about conferences historically has made a lot of sense, because the idea, and Tom Osborne built the Nebraska football program with the 500-mile radius, right? 500 miles out, and draw a circle around Lincoln, Nebraska. That is where you're going to get your recruits, because 1, people want to stay close to home, but 2, there's the familiarity with the program. As college football has become more national and coast to coast, and every game is on television, we started to see, hey, you can recruit outside of that 500-mile radius, and you can go a little bit further and further away. Well, now NIL, the transfer portal, they've allowed other conferences to reap the benefits of what had happened for years, which was a couple of the best conferences would just hoard all of the talent and say, they're not going anywhere. Well, now there's adaptability and flexibility for these players to say, I'm going to go and I want to go somewhere else and I want to play. And that you're seeing those guys are distributed more evenly across the country. And
it's a more national game, not regional.
It really has. And that has been a huge benefit to every single conference in the Power 4, and when you even look at the Group of 6 as well.
Yeah, make him the athletic director, make him the czar of college football. Do something.
I just don't know. I know where we're going. I don't know where we're starting, though. That was the problem. You guys got me at the beginning of what's my first move.
Dusty. Yeah, so you know the end game.
Yeah,
right?
I know where we want to get to.
Yeah.
The path's going to be a little wonky, but we'll get there.
Right.
We'll stick that landing.
Right. The path, meanwhile, for this Oregon football team goes through Atlanta. I just think you look at what these 2 teams were in October. I don't know about you. I actually did go back and watch the game again. Did you?
Of course I did.
How many times have you watched it?
Well, I watched it one other time.
Just one?
Yeah.
Did you watch it after the game?
I guess also? So. I've seen it. I've seen that game 3 times with my own eyes.
Okay, I have also seen that game 3 times. 2 on television, 1 in real time. So, what were your takeaways? What were your takeaways then, and what are your takeaways after watching it again?
But then it was, and it really still is, like opportunities that were there that Oregon didn't capitalize on, and then there's the ones that they actually did, and how close that game is on the margins. And when you have a game that is on the margins, it can get away from you really quickly.
Sure.
And the final score kind of indicated that that's what happened. But when you watch back, you say there were opportunities there. And Indiana is a really good football team.
Really good.
As I went back and I watched it more recently this past week, it was, boy, these teams are different. And they're different from not who they are identity-wise and where they're getting to, but it's kind of like me as an athletic director. The path has been winding to get there. They're sticking the landing, whether it's personnel groupings, paring down kind of the rotations on for both teams, and that is due to injury attrition, that is due to just finding out who the guys are that really fit over the course of the season, and that changes, that evolves over time. And I think that one thing that we've seen, especially with Oregon's offense, is that the personnel groupings, there's so much more variety, and injury kind of forced that hand over the course of the season. When the receiver room got a little bit depleted, it opened up the opportunity for guys like Jamari Johnson and Roger Saleapaga to get more run and be more effective and more of a part of this offense. But it also opened up using more multi-back sets. We've seen 30 personnel in this group, which is 3 backs, 0 tight ends. And, those are the different wrinkles that sometimes coaches keep it in their holster and slowly unveil it as the season goes on. But we've seen these teams really evolve both as, the personnel that they use and how they're getting to that final point. Their identities are still the same. And for Indiana, they are a run-to-pass team that run the ball really effectively, right? Fernando Mendoza does an incredible job of, and I hate that people use this in a bad way, but managing the game, right? Managing the game at one of the most elite levels.
You know what playmaking QBs do? They also manage the game.
They manage the game, and they get everybody in the right spot, and he's incredible at that. We've also seen so much growth in Dante Moore since then, too. And he's talked about and been open with, the way that he mentally prepared for the game and reacted in game. And we've seen that in real time, those adjustments happen, because negative plays happen in the Texas Tech game. Texas Tech's defense was really good, and he never let the previous play affect the next one. And that is something that it is so easy to say, but really difficult to do in real time. And we've seen a lot of growth by both of these quarterbacks who were elite at the time that they played too.
Yeah, he's Dusty Harrah talking about this Oregon and Indiana rematch coming up. Ducks looking to avenge their lone loss of the season. I'm glad that you brought up, though, the differences, and I think, too, that there's been a focus from an Oregon perspective on learning from the preparation leading into that game and then having it feel like a little bit of a wake-up call. You lose a game, it can feel that way, right? Meanwhile, on the Indiana side, it's, okay, well, how has Oregon changed? How do you adapt for that? That's why you love these chess matches going into the game. Now, that being said, Noah Whittington said something today that I thought really, really stuck with me, and I'm curious your perspective on this. He just said, look, like all that said, football's football. We all run the same stuff. It just comes down to execution. And I think that's where Oregon, we've continued to say it, the Ducks are talented enough, they're well coached enough that if they execute, they're going to be okay.
I love that because it's so true, and that's kind of where they are, their identities, and where they want to be and how they get to that final place. It is all the same, right? Everybody's trying to get into the end zone, but your identity offensively and defensively, your core principles of how you operate, those will never change, and you just gotta have full faith in that. Execution is what's going to get you there. It doesn't matter who is on the field. You're one of 11, and you got to be pushing towards the same goal in the same direction. I love that from Noah. I also loved what Bryce said too, which was, look, when you said wake up call, when Bryce Betcher yesterday said, that was a wake up call to us, and I think it's something that we needed. I love the honesty in that because there's a lot of truth in that for any person, whether you're an athlete or, you're in your work life and in a career, you have these times where you're feeling really confident. You get humbled really quickly, and it's how you recenter and refocus yourself.
He's Dusty Harrah, and it's like he knew that we were going to play Bryce Betcher coming up in just a minute. Dusty! See you on the tarmac.
Hey, we'll see you.
He'll be roaming those Toyota sidelines, and hopefully we'll be dodging some confetti cannons.
That's right. That's the best kind of dodging.
Yeah.
It's way better than when projectiles are thrown.
Yeah, I tell you what, Dusty's bob and weave, it was good down there on the field post-game at the Orange Bowl. I mean, Coach Lanning tried to nail him with an orange.
The oranges were flying, man.
Oranges were flying,
Oranges were flying.
But I've been down there in those celebrations, and you're like, okay, you got to get through traffic. You did it.
You
did.
Well
done. Crowd management.
You got players, families, oranges. It's all down there. Cameras are everywhere. Yeah. It's a thing, man.
Did you bring home an orange?
No. I would have eaten it. And I don't think that it wouldn't have preserved very well. It's not one you put on the shelf.
Dusty Harrah. Thank you, buddy.
Thank you.
Time out. Come back. Bryce Betcher on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by one of your local branches today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
When life blindsides you with an injury, you need a team that's tough. For over 30 years, Morgan & Morgan has been fighting for the people. This season, we're proud to partner with Oregon Athletics. Because whether it's on the field or in the courtroom, we're both determined to do what it takes to win. Morgan & Morgan, proud partner of Oregon Athletics. Injured? Dial pound law. Morgan & Morgan, 10150 Southwest 6th Avenue, Portland. Prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome.
More Duck Insider coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I want you to know. I said I want you to know right now. You've been good to me, baby. Better than I've been to myself.
We're back on Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mack here with you in the Country Financial Studio. We said we were going to hear from Bryce Betcher. Let's do it. Talking defense, getting ready for this matchup with Indiana. 4:30 kick. We'll have a 2:30 pregame show on Friday here on the Oregon Sports Network. That does mean no Duck Insider because we got all our pregame festivities to take care of. 4:30 kick in the college football playoff semifinal. Bryce Betcher gives us a preview.
Bryce, going back to the regular season matchup, is there anything that sticks out most in your mind 2.5 months later now, or that did at the time?
Yeah, a couple things defensively. First off, I mean, we need to stop the run. They're really good at running the ball, so we got to do that. Got to cage their quarterback, Mendoza. I feel like is, overlooked for how good he is at scrambling at times, getting out of the pocket. So we got to do that and just do our job.
Bryce, I'm curious just kind of what the days are. We talked after JMU about maybe kind of the frustration, how that was kind of the psychological impacts. I'm curious, after a shutout where the defense did so much right, what's kind of the response to that, and kind of how do you kind of keep yourself pushing?
Yeah, I mean, we had a really good game. And I think it just obviously gives you confidence, and you can't get complacent with that confidence. You got to realize that Indiana is going to be a way better team than Tech. Tech was a good team, but Indiana's better. At this point, it's, win or go home. So, we're pumped for the opportunity.
Dan said that this team's drastically different from when you played Indiana the first time. Where do you feel like your defense has improved or changed since that matchup?
Yeah, I feel like we've sewn some things up within our defense. Right as we played them, we installed some new defenses that, we're still working the kinks out of, and now I'd say we're experts at it. Everyone knows their job, in and out, and we've had a lot of reps at it.
Bryce, just feels like people say it's really hard to beat a team twice. Can you just break down what it actually means? Like, what makes it so hard to beat a team twice?
Yeah, I mean, I think, obviously that's a narrative. I know teams have been beaten twice, and sometimes it doesn't happen. I don't know. I think Indiana's a good team, and we're also a good team, and the better team's going to win. So
speaking of narratives, obviously you guys are 1 win away from clinching a spot in the national championship. As a kid from Eugene that's watched the Ducks and an opportunity, I'm assuming a couple of times in that moment. What does that mean for you to have an opportunity where you're 1 win away from getting an opportunity to play in the national championship game yourself?
Yeah, it means everything. It's a pretty rare opportunity. There's 4 teams left. Pretty cool, surreal, but I'll be happy once we get this win. Honestly, I'm head down, focused on the task at hand, but it's a cool opportunity.
Dante Moore said the first time around, he maybe was in his head a little bit, made the game bigger than what it is against Indiana. One, did you share that sentiment? And two, how are you going about, using the stakes of the game to motivate you without letting it impact you mentally in a negative way?
Yeah, I mean, I've played in a lot of big games in my career here, whether it be football or baseball. So I feel like I do a pretty good job at handling the magnitude of the game. At the end of the day, it's a football game, and we play the game every day in practice, and we've been in some pretty dang big games throughout the year and over the years. So it's just another game, but obviously it's win or go home. So I'm pumped for that aspect.
How much of what you know from what you've seen from Indiana back in October from playing against them, how much of that game goes into playing them in the playoffs, or is it totally different now?
Yeah, it definitely comes into play. I mean, obviously they're not a new team, but an evolved team, and so are we. I think more so just kind of correcting our errors and where we went wrong in the first game, just doing some self-scout and recognizing that, because they may try to expose that again in this next game. But yeah, it comes into play a little bit, but we also watch new film because they're an evolved team.
I mean, I'm interested to know some of the ways specifically that this team has been able to kind of gel together, even at the end of the season with these long road trips. I mean, now back to the East Coast coming up.
Yeah, it's always cool when you get to spend some time together. Obviously, most of the time we're spending time together. It's pretty locked in at the task at hand. So, we try to not spend a whole lot of time talking about other stuff other than football. But there are those times on the plane or in the hotel room when you have some downtime that you can come together and, bond. So it's been fun.
Right. You mentioned the defense installing some things since you last played them. I'm not going to ask you to get on a dry erase board to break down cloud 4 versus 6 versus 7 for the layperson, but you threw a lot of different coverages at Tech that you guys hadn't used a lot of or at all. Can you explain to the fan how that can confuse a quarterback and what that might offer you?
Yeah, I mean, can't be the same team every time you play another team, or else they'll just scout you and they'll know what you're in every single time. Obviously, it's when you got to do your assignment and play hard, at the end of the day, the team that plays the hardest and does their assignment is going to win. But some, variables, throwing some new things at a team, is definitely important, which I'm sure Indiana, when they come out, they probably aren't going to do everything we've seen on film. They'll have some new wrinkles. That's the exciting part about football.
Bryce, just to look back at your game individually as well as the defense as a whole, when you do look at those things that have gotten better, where you have excelled and you've grown, what have you seen from yourself personally as well as overall as a defense that's going to be better this time around?
So just doing our job within our defense, honestly. I mean, in the past Indiana game, I had a couple, mental errors where I didn't necessarily do my job in the body of the defense, and, same comes for other guys on our team. So I think just sewing that up, and then better understanding our opponent, having a better game plan going into the game. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious your take as somebody who's gone against Indiana's offensive line. They've gotten a lot of praise, but give me a player's view, like what makes them good? What are the challenges they present?
Yeah, they're smart, fast, and physical. I know, like up front in their run game, they play physical and they do their job. They don't have a lot of unblocked hats. I know in the screen game, they get out and they're elite at kind of retracing and blocking for the receivers in the screen game, which was present in our last game. So we've done a lot of screen retrace drills. But yeah, there's a good unit. They play well together and they do their job.
Bryce, the first game felt like maybe an inflection point for this season. Obviously a reset. You guys go on, don't lose again. I'm curious kind of what did that game mean? Maybe how did that reset you guys and kind of push you to the rest of the season?
Yeah, I'm a believer everything happens for a reason. I think we needed that to kind of wake us up. Obviously we came off a big Penn State win and kind of thought we were, pretty cool going into that week and pretty confident, and got a little lackadaisical with our prep, I think. So it was a good wake-up call. And, I think the rest of the season leading up to this point is a pretty good testament to the way we responded to that loss.
There's no doubt about that. It's been a great testament. Oregon now one of the last 4 teams playing for a national championship. Number 5, Oregon. Number 1, Indiana in the Peach Bowl, college football playoff semifinal. Coming up, we're going to hear from Mateo Uyunglele, sticking with defense on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, we're more than just an award-winning golf course and practice facility. Our events team offers all-inclusive event pricing that allows us to take care of all the details while you enjoy your event. Our indoor and outdoor venues offer you a wide variety of fully staffed options that put the focus on you. From weddings to business and social events, at Shadow Hills Country Club Events Center, you get the benefits of a resort atmosphere and amenities in a peaceful country setting, just minutes from downtown Eugene. Call for a tour today or visit shadowhillsevents.com.
Hey, Duck fans, at Country Financial, they make insurance easy. Whether you're shopping for home, auto, or more, their representatives will take the time to understand your specific needs and explain what options work best for you. Worry less and feel more confident knowing you're covered. Visit countryfinancial.com to get started today. Experience more with Country Financial. Auto and home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, and Country Casualty Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
Back to the Country Financial Studios in 60 seconds. This is Duck Insider from Learfield.
I'm Chris Jakimick. I served in the United States Air Force and I deployed 3 times. Being a veteran, it's interwoven into your DNA. It's really the absence of the connection and the purpose that can really drive a lot of veterans to some negative thoughts. For those who are in a suicidal crisis, the window of time to save somebody's life is very short. Our duty is to protect ourselves and protect our families. And one way you can do that is store your weapons safely. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
This message is for Karina, our mom who finished her high school diploma at age 28. Hi, Mom. It's Emmettith and Nicholas. Congratulations on getting your diploma. You worked so hard and have taught us so much. We love you.
When you graduate, they graduate. Finish your high school diploma for you and for them. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free and supportive adult education centers near you. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Duck Insider presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mack in the Country Financial Studio, getting ready to travel to Atlanta tomorrow. Mateo Uiagalelei breaking things down from the Duck defensive perspective. A rematch with Indiana. Mateo Uiagalelei.
A non-football question for you, Mateo, because I know how into thrifting you are. Since Mom opened up her shop, how have you had a chance to go down there and just when that's something that you two have in common? What's that been like last night?
Essentially like officially open. I haven't been down there yet, so no, but like during the summer, I was helping her just get stuff and just helping her get set up and stuff. But yeah, I mean it's definitely cool.
After the JMU win, a lot of discussion about kind of needing to play better. What's the conversation when you put your shutout? I don't know, the defense, not to say it played perfect, but plays maybe its best game of the season.
Yeah. I mean, I think just looking back, like we already played this team when we lost, and it wasn't the standard. But just talking about like what it takes to win this game. You can't take the poisonous pill of success. But I mean, yeah, just talking about like what we have to do to win, and just like how much does it mean to us, if we lose or out of the season.
Your team's obviously different from the last time you guys played Indiana. Where do you feel like up front defensively as a unit too, just that growth where has that growth happened?
You talking about like only up front? Yep. I mean, I think we definitely become more mature up front. Like trusting the defense, trusting the scheme, not trying to do our own thing. And I think attacking the ball is like one of the main things we've improved at. Like in the front and the backers and in the back end. But definitely attacking the ball, just playing more relentless, more physical.
When you guys pitch a shutout like you did against Texas Tech last week, how much of that is a confidence booster heading into this weekend? Do you feel like you guys right now defensively as a unit are hitting your stride and where you want to be heading into this game?
I mean, yeah. I mean, looking back, it's definitely cool to watch the film and be like, there's a few plays where, we could have done better, but like overall, like, we dominated them and that is cool to watch. But at the same time, we are playing, this is the best team in the country. So, this last week, it kind of stays back there. And now we're just focused on Indiana.
Last season, it was a rematch with Ohio State in the playoffs. This season, another rematch, but with Indiana this time. But this time, you guys are on the other side. You guys lost the first matchup. Do you think it gives you guys extra firepower going into this one with a chip on your shoulder as opposed to having to maintain a standard that you played at earlier in the season?
I'd say yeah. I know the guys they're eager to play this game, hungry for this game. You know, it's a chance to get back, but at the same time, it's Indiana's grown too as a team. You got to realize that.
Hey, Mateo, can you give me your impressions of Sadiq as both a teammate and a player?
Yeah. We came in, me and him came in the same class, and I think we did a lot of stuff together. Like we were in the same lifting groups and stuff coming in. So I'd say from the start, he's definitely not a talkative guy, but I think just his presence alone and just how he carries himself, I would say he's definitely a good leader and one of the main leaders on our team. Just leads by example all the time, and just shows up when he needs to show up. Yeah.
First meeting, big kind of leading into it was just trying to get after Fernando, maybe speed him up a little bit. I'm not sure if you guys feel like you succeeded in that or not. How much is that a focal point in this one too?
Yeah, you always want to get pressure on the quarterback. I would definitely say, I would definitely say Mendoza. I wouldn't say he's like the most athletic. He's not gonna, he's not like the Washington quarterback where he's like this guy's freaking running all over the place. But I will say I think he's one of the best scramblers in the country, just as far as decision making. So I think just having a good cage and caging him in that pocket and pushing that pocket is definitely important.
Mateo, when you look at your story and getting to Oregon and everything that it took to get to where you are right now and to be standing in this moment with 4 teams left, what can you say about that personal journey and what you've learned and kind of going through adversity to be in a place where you're one step out of a national championship?
Yeah, growing up, like this is kind of what you wanted as a kid, is what you want to play for. Having a chance to play in a semifinal game and then potentially playing in the next game. It's like this is what kids dream of. So, I'm pretty sure everybody on the team is excited. I know everybody on the team is excited, but it means a lot. It definitely means a lot. Yeah.
Mateo Iungale getting us ready for this matchup in the college football playoff. I'll tell you what, this is going to be fun. It's going to be really fun. Oregon, Indiana, rematch, what we sign up for, right? This is what it's all about. Tomorrow, Ryan Milano's got you covered. A ton of Oregon football student athletes previewing the game. See you in Atlanta.
You said you'd never buy your kid candy from the checkout aisle. Or forget extra diapers. You'd never lick your thumb to clean their face. Never, ever become a minivan mom. So when you say you'd never leave your child in a hot car, no, it can happen. Cars get hot fast, and kids can be at risk in temperatures as low as 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Never happens. Before you leave the car, always stop, look, lock. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
We asked parents who adopted teens to share their journey.
We just